Now, I can't say I've watched all of the Transformers films, but as far as I know, there's never been a bike in any of them. If there were, however, there would be 3 different models battling it out to be the Optimus Prime of mountain biking. Those bikes are the Scott Ransom, the Cannondale Jekyll, and this, the new Canyon Strive. All 3 bikes aim to let you have your cake and eat it by offering 2 different modes that you can select on the fly. One is a no-holds-barred downhill, guys, and the other is a more efficient option for getting back to the top of the hill or saving time mid-race stage. While Scott and Cannondale close off a portion of the air shock to reduce the travel and change the dynamic geometry, Canyon uses a mechanical linkage to actually move the position of the shock. It's called the Shapeshifter, and it's now made by Fox. There have been many changes with the aim of increasing reliability, but the most obvious improvement is that you no longer have to persuade the bike to change mode by squatting down or rising out of the saddle. Now you simply press one of the buttons on the underbar remote and the system does the hard work for you. It's much more intuitive than the old design, and the improved ergonomics mean that you can actually use it on a long descent without flapping your hands around on the bars. And by stacking the levers, you can still access the dropper post remote. But what does the Shapeshifter actually do? Well, quite a lot. It changes the static geometry, the dynamic geometry, the travel, the leverage curve, and the anti-squat characteristics. In English, that means that going from DH to XC mode raises the bottom bracket, steepens the head and seat angle, increases the anti-squat, and reduces the leverage on the shock, giving a much more efficient position for climbing with better ground clearance, and stiffens up the suspension with a reduced 135mm of travel. Canyon says the angle's changed by 1.5 degrees and the bottom bracket by 15mm, with around half of that coming from the mechanical movement and the rest from the reduced travel and sag. Now, what else has changed? Well, the new Strive rolls on 29-inch wheels and gets 150mm of rear wheel travel. Only full carbon frames are available, but the top CFR models use a high modulus carbon that saves 300 grams. All the forks use short offset versions, and they're allied to 40mm stems and 780 bars. There are dinky 165mm cranks to reduce pedal strikes with the low 335mm BB, and it all runs on a nice threaded bottom bracket unit. Out in the wild, it's a really intuitive bike to ride. It doesn't take any time to get used to, and it has a versatility that's reminiscent of the old 27.5-inch wheeled Strive. The new Shapeshifter really encourages you to adapt the bike to the terrain, as it's so much easier to access the different modes. But for me, it's not perfect. The shock is a touch overdamped for my 70-kilo weight. Even with the damping wound right out, it's a bit stubborn and sluggish, and this robs it of some pressure, sensitivity and grip that would really come in handy on long enduro stages. And while the sizing is fairly generous with a 470mm reach on the size large, the geometry is a little bit conservative next to bikes like the Yeti SB150, Scott Ransom and Specialized Stump Jumper Evo. In our view, the 65.4 head angle could be a whole degree slacker without compromising the versatility of the Strive. We just wish the guys at Canyon had downed a few more Jaeger bombs before signing off on the geometry. Lastly, by running a longer stroke shock with the same eye-to-eye measurement, it's possible to eke out an extra 10mm of travel out of the Strive. And we expect this will be what the team are running at the EWS races. So why not give consumers the same option on the top 2 models? We can only speculate that there's some kind of clearance issue, as we would definitely choose that extra comfort blanket if we knew we could bail out into the XC mode on the climbs. So there you have it then, the new Strive. a unique take on the modern enduro bike. But with so many great long travel 29ers on the market, most of which pedal as well as they descend, it's got some seriously tough competition on its hands. So remember to like and subscribe and let us know what you think of the new bike in the comments below.